Old School Runescape is a vast game with a lot of lore, yet many players skip some of it altogether. So in this series, I'm planning on shedding some light on some of that lore by reading some of RuneScape's books to learn what they have to tell. Welcome to OSRS Lore Library. The Abyssal Book, also known as Abyssal Research Notes, contains information on the Abyss, such as how it was discovered, as well as some of its properties. The book can be obtained from the Mage of Zamorak north of Edgeville after completing the Enter the Abyss mini-quest. If the book is lost, a player may speak to the Dark Mage in the Abyss for a replacement, or may take one from the bookcase in a player-owned house. Now moving on to the transcript. A compendium of research into chaotic space. Author unknown. A strange dimension that we have named Abyssal Space is something of an enigma. It was first discovered during a routine teleportation experiment that seemingly went wrong. We're still not sure what caused the teleportation failure, but the discovery of a previously unknown dimension led to a flurry of research from the Zamorakian Magical Institute, henceforth known within this document as the ZMI. Under direct orders to examine this dimension, I feel I can accurately state the following conclusions. Conclusion 1. Abyssal space is not a dimension in a way that we understand the term from examples such as Xanaris or Frenesque. Rather, it is the name we have given the dimension that exists between other, more developed dimensions, the glue that keeps each dimension together, yet separate, if you will. The abyssal space's existence at the fringe of reality means that it does not conform to the same guidelines of space and time as Gielinor does. You may enter it and then leave it from an identical spot, yet reappear many hundreds of miles at your target destination, the teleportation phenomenon that we use daily. From this basic concept, I've extrapolated that all teleport magics in fact use the abyssal space to make the passing of great distances occur in a very short time, from our perception. What is actually happening is that the spellcaster is entering abyssal space, and then immediately leaving again, with certain values as to speed and direction being taken care of in our spellcasting to allow some degree of precision in these teleports. More worryingly, it seems apparent that the barriers between our dimensional space and abyssal space seems to have somewhat weakened through excessive use. There have been isolated reports within ZMI that creatures not native to our dimension have entered Gielinor through abyssal space, as well as the teleportation malfunction that first resulted in our discovery of this dimension. I strongly recommend that further research is taken. If the barriers between these dimensions are sufficiently weakened, there may exist the possibility of an alternative method to proceed with Operation Transient, without alerting the other deities to our plans. Conclusion 2. When we have accepted abyssal space is somewhat of a tesseract or a hypercube with direct relation to our dimension, then the benefits of exploiting this resource become more obvious. Certain creatures of the abyss contain unnecessary surplus organs that may be harvested to provide carrying pouches for various magically unstable objects. I ran some experiments with sample XJ13, also known as Rune Essence, and managed to place 6 parts in a space that would seemingly only hold 1. Continued experimentation with these stolen samples showed that moving items between our dimension and the abyssal space degraded the use of these pouches, but a simple transfiguration spell when cast within the abyss upon these pouches restored their usage back to the original results. Should we ever locate the source of these essences that the Wizard Tower seems to have an endless supply of, I would recommend the harvesting of these creatures for their organs so as to maximize the efficiency of our rune manufacturing process. Some degree of caution will be necessary, as the creatures of the abyss are seemingly very aggressive. Conclusion 3. Our first discovery of abyssal space was somewhat of a fluke, and not an easily repeatable fluke at that. It proved exceedingly difficult to find the correct mystical resonance for this dimension, due to my original belief that abyssal space was not a fully fledged dimension of its own, so we had to resort to unusual measures to gain permanent access to this realm. We took a large number of initiates and gave them each supplies to cast a portal spell. We then had them repeatedly teleport to various locations, seeking to replicate the original error that caused the first entry into abyssal space. Once one of our initiates had managed to fail his teleport and appear in abyssal space, he was then charged with remaining there and holding the portal spell open, so that more senior members of the ZMI could gain entry via his portal. This initiate is still there, and due to the intense concentration required to keep the portal open, it is recommended that we leave him there holding the bridge open for us. As an initiate, he's always more expendable should anything go wrong, and the slow passage of time within abyssal space means we don't need to worry about feeding him or anything. At the time of writing, this portal is still active and will allow us to teleport people at will into abyssal space. The only downside to this method of teleportation is that we are using magic provided to us by our Lord Zimmerok himself, so anybody who uses this teleport will inevitably be marked by him, or become scold, as the common folk put it. An interesting side effect of this portal is that various teleports within abyssal space were opened by its casting. These teleports seem to lead to mysterious temples dedicated to various magical elements, which I believe are directly related to the rumors we have intercepted of the discovery of runecrafting by the Wizard's Tower. Sadly, we must conclude from these temples that the rumors are indeed true, and that the destruction of the Wizard Tower had been in vain, as was the sacrifice of those who died to try and prevent the meddling of Saradominus from getting access to further creation of magical runes. I've detailed my findings to runecrafting in a separate document and passed it on to my superiors, along with my recommendations on how best to thwart their research further. Until a final decision is taken, I suggest we make the best of a bad situation and increase our own rune production to full manufacturing capabilities. I've already ordered buyers to purchase as much sampled XJ13 as can be bought, and to hire some mercenaries to sabotage the research efforts of the Wizard Tower, or failing that, to provide us with some insight into where their steady supplies of these essences are coming from. Until my next report, I remain as ever a loyal servant. Strength through chaos. And that's the end of the Abyssal book, folks. It gave us a little insight into the ZMI and just the Abyss, teleportation, a little bit of everything, really. What did you think about it? Please let me know in the comments below. This has been Worst.